This episode of MMA Nuts is brought to you by GoDaddy.com. Get a 99cent.com or transfer with code MMA99. TireBuyer.com. Save $30 off your order of $400 plus with code MMANUTS30. With Silva. Get 15% off your order with code MMANUTS. Woo! Hey fans, this is MMA Nuts, episode 231.
231.
My name's Ingo Weigold.
Matt Gruden, I'm going to show my fans, for my fans, we walk the line between serious and ridiculous.
This feels weird.
What's happening? Are you so wide awake right now?
It's strange. It's a Friday midday, and we're taping a show where normally we're doing this Sunday at night.
Yes.
So I feel unusually something. I don't know what.
Wide awake. I'm on my third cup of coffee before noon.
Wow.
It's totally normal.
3.
It's totally normal.
Okay. His heart's going to explode.
Hopefully. That'll be the best show ever then.
Yes, and we are doing this on the bookend of all the craziness that happened last weekend with the UFC 183.
Yeah, we got blizzarded out on Sunday.
Yes.
With fucking 2 feet of snow out here.
Crazy. Yeah.
Ingo's like still feeling the fucking pains of shoveling and...
My body hurts. Were you outside at all Sunday, like driving around?
No.
Dude, the roads were crazy. I've never seen so many people in a ditch. I don't know why.
Snow? What's that?
Yeah, even like four-wheel drive vehicles. I guess people got too brave and they're like
they always
Jeeps
do.
And stuff, and they're just stuck in the dirt.
Especially the ladies in the four-wheel drive vehicles. They think
I'm invincible.
It's a tank. Nothing can stop me. Snowbank.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind driving when it's like that. It's just I worry about other drivers because they don't know how to control their cars. And if you have a rear-wheel drive vehicle, you're fucked.
Oh.
Spinning out.
Like a Ford F-150 rear-wheel drive truck.
Oh, yeah. Forget about it.
So much power in the back.
So, but, you know, the Super Bowl was good, exciting, a little controversy. Did you watch that? No. It came down right to the wire. So.
That's what, just one person wanted the ball more than the other person.
That's true.
That's all it is.
You know, Patriots win that.
Pass, run, who gives a fuck? Doesn't matter.
Who cares? But here we are, noon drinking, so cheers. Whatever.
Had to twist an arm.
Yes.
Right.
Here.
What? They touched Mike. So dirty.
So I guess you want to talk about some shit. The reason we're doing this show now is because we just feel like there is too much going on.
So much shit.
With the controversy that happened around the main event fight at UFC 183. Should we talk about the aftermath first or the actual fight?
Let's talk about the aftermath, and then we'll go back to the fight. So
go for it.
Let's start with Anderson Silva. So Anderson Silva takes out of competition drug test beginning of January.
Yep.
This test. They get the
9th
results
or something. 7th?
Yeah. They get the results a few days after UFC 183. Yeah. Curious.
Convenient.
Okay. And you know, he tests positive for 2 steroids in there. And now Anderson, of course, you have 2 ways you can play it. You can either admit it or deny it. He's going down the deny route.
Correct.
So I think one of the questions we need to talk about is why are you doing out-of-competition drug testing if you can't get the results back before the fucking event?
Well, normally it's within 7 to 10 days. But conveniently, this took 17 days. Which is about double the normal time. I find that quite curious, Matt.
How so?
Could that have anything to do with the fact that the NSAC has a vested interest in potentially allowing a super fight to happen that could make them a shit ton of money if they have a result that would propose 2 fighters lose parts of their purse? Like large purses?
Yeah, because if that fight doesn't happen,
no money.
The whole fucking event could get canceled too.
They get nothing.
Right. You get nothing. Everything goes to shit then.
But instead, they could, I mean, this is like a $2 million plus payout, right? We're talking about something like that combined. So, I mean, 30% of that, who knows, 20%, 50%, whatever they're going to take, that's a lot of beans and rice.
Sure is.
So, I find that that's a major problem there. I think they need to somehow change what happens with that money, or because it's like who's not going to do that? Like if you know you can get cash in your pocket if you just wait a couple days, wouldn't anybody in their right mind say, okay, No one can be that ethical. You're talking about like that. That's a shit ton of money.
The money's driving everything.
So, and I believe Zuffa knew about it.
Ooh.
And I will go as far as to say I believe they told Nick Diaz, which is why that motherfucker went off and just decided, fuck it, I'm smoking weed. I don't care. Who cares? Which is crazy in itself, because he could have like just kept his all. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with him? But, you know, I think he. Did you hear about that leading up to that?
Part?
The weed part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. You could explain.
Well, basically, that he couldn't test clean up until like 3 or 4 days before the fight, because he has to piss completely clean. So I'm thinking.
Why is that though? Because
some rule
because he's out of competition.
Because he got busted before, so he has to prove that he can be clean.
But he also has a medical condition. He has a license for medical marijuana in California. Yes. So why can't he take a prescribed medicine?
Well,
and be able to fight?
I don't know.
That's my argument.
But, anyway. You know, neither.
I guess it's a rule in their retarded minds. But
it is. Anyway. So he finally does that, and I believe after that, you know, he had that whole thing where he was trying to get on a plane to come to Vegas, and he saw the embedded crew and was like, I'm out of here. I think he went home to get stoned.
It was probably scary. He's got anxiety disorder or something. He's
not on his medicine.
Right. So he has to leave, go take his medicine, and then take a flight at a later date.
The following day. So, and I think there's some people who propose that he potentially was high during the fight. There's really no way to prove that, but the levels were extremely high.
Well, the problem is the way they're doing the testing for marijuana. So Nick fails his third. We'll talk about him a little bit. We'll go back to Anderson, but so Nick fails his third test for marijuana. This time around, it was at I think 300 ng, whatever, and the limit is 150, and this is raised from 50. But this doesn't tell you when the guy smoked marijuana. It only tells you he has it in his system, which is a problem. If you want to judge impairment of a person, you need to do a blood test. And they didn't do a blood test, so what I have to say...
Can you tell that if they're impaired at that time?
Yes, you have to do a blood test. So NSAC, go fuck yourself. You can't do a urine test and say this guy is high. You have to do a blood test. Otherwise, go fuck yourself.
I did a little study on this, and apparently, what's common is also for someone, for instance, who say someone is overweight and they smoked pot while they were overweight, a lot of it, right? And then they stopped.
Yeah.
And they go on a diet, and the fat starts to flush out of their system. You know that comes out through your urine. So they could actually test positive for marijuana, even though they haven't smoked it in a long time, because the fat is stored in your fat cells. And also, it can be due to high stress and whatever else. It kind of like
adrenaline,
gets
you add all that shit in there.
So it's kind of not a great way to test, as you were saying, to do urine. Blood, you really can't. It's not going to be that affected by any of that. So, I don't know. And that was done, right after the fight, supposedly? So, his levels should have been way higher then, right?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, yeah, okay, gee, you show he's taking his medicine for a prescribed problem. Okay.
Yeah.
I think what it comes down to is you need to judge if he's impaired or not. Then that's where I can agree.
How many fingers am I holding?
Testing. And it's the way they're doing it right now for marijuana is retarded. And
yeah, I'm trying to find what's Cesar Gracie's comment on that. Did you see that?
He said something along the lines like he is THC.
Pretty much. He's like
It's his DNA.
No one thinks that no one when you think of Diaz, you know it's marijuana. So
yeah, it just comes. It's not even more the level of acceptance anymore because it's legal in fucking 4 states recreationally now. I want to say it's 23 or 24 medically. It's more of, are you impaired or not? Like, you don't want to see a guy fucking drunk fighting. You only got to see a guy high on cocaine fighting. You don't want to see a guy all hopped up on weed. It's just going to make him a little more sleepy and laying down in the octagon maybe. And unfortunately, like, when you talk about Nick, so this is his 3rd time. No, he's gonna have to go in front of the.
I'm gonna rub my apple like the whole show now
Because they piss everybody off. Stop rubbing your apple, man. It's fucking annoying.
It feels kind of
Maybe I'll rub my nuts.
It feels weird because it's all smooth. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'll tape it down. So it's his third time failing a test for
Is
the
he
same
gonna be
fucking
banned for
thing.
life or what?
Well, he's gonna get a worse suspension than Anderson Silva will get.
So last time he got a
marijuana.
year, right? So he
Yes.
might get 2 years this time, which
Yeah.
will, in essence, probably end his career.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. I mean, they said already that he's going to get at least the punishment that he got the last time. So he's looking at least a year. And seeing how
Well, he only
those
fights
guys
once a
have
year.
their fucking heads up their ass at the NSAC, he's going to get 2 years probably. Look at
weed.
Chael got 2, right? That because he was a multiple offender.
I don't get it. Like Jones is okay, the cocaine and whatever, but I just don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. John Jones has the positive coke test, and I think coke is in a worse
Hell yeah.
category than little weed, and nothing happens, and you got a slap on the wrist, right? If
Yeah.
that even. And
25,000.
Yeah, that's nothing. It's a piss in the bucket for that guy. So, but Diaz is probably going to lose his fighting ability for years, if not for the rest of his career. That's
Well,
it.
that brings up the double standard of the UFC, which I want to mention a little bit and talk about how when each of these guys tested for something, how the UFC came out and what they said about it.
Mhm.
If I can find that here. Oh, so John Jones tests positive for cocaine. The UFC says he's a strong and courageous fighter. Anderson Silva tests positive for 2 steroids. UFC says he's an amazing champion and a true ambassador of the sport. Nick Diaz tests positive for marijuana. The UFC says he has violated the UFC fighter conduct policy. So out of the 3 guys, Nick Diaz is the fucking asshole, and the other
Right.
guys are fucking the best ever. I'm so proud, you know?
Yeah.
And then you can even look at it to like Chris Weidman and look at Dominic Cruz. We'll go Dominic Cruz first. That motherfucker's out for 3 years, and then they finally decide to strip him of the title. Chris Weidman, or Weidman as everyone's saying lately, he gets injured. Now they're starting to talk about an interim fucking belt after 6 months.
Yep.
What shit is that about?
Well, they need ratings.
And then
If the belt's not on the table, it's not interesting.
yeah,
So
you gotta get a belt out. And then the last one is Anderson Silva tests positive for 2 steroids. Continues to coach on the next season of The Ultimate Fighter.
of course.
Anthony Rumble Johnson has some allegations of domestic dispute or domestic abuse. He gets suspended indefinitely, and it wasn't even. There was nothing.
There wasn't nothing came of it.
Right.
So yeah.
So
Well-
it's if you're a fucking goat, you can do whatever the fuck you want
Pretty much.
as long as you make us money.
That's right.
Everyone else, fuck you.
Exactly. True.
It's a little problem.
Did you read that statement that Chael put out about Anderson?
No.
There was a interview with him. I think he was on the Ariel got to him or whatever, and he was saying it was kind of like he wasn't being like very direct about anything, but he made a few interesting points where he was saying basically, does it mean that Anderson took steroids his entire career? He says he doesn't know. One thing to think about is that his body has never changed. So either he was taking him his entire career or he just took him for his leg. And he said it would be certainly fair to say that if he got busted once, that would mean that he has been on something since the day like he started training at 9 years old. And he said that he holds that for himself. He said although he got busted for I don't know fucking whatever
Everything.
like 10 things.
EPO,
He says that's
testosterone,
fair.
fucking-
He says that's fair for people to think that I've always been cheating. And I would say so. It's I don't know. There's a lot of talk about it tarnishing his legacy. I mean, do you feel like it does? Does it? I know you don't care about steroids, but I'm just saying, as a guy who's always been like Mr. Clean, what is?
Well, I think what it's all points to is they are showing it's out of competition testing.
Sure.
So out of competition testing right now, 31% of the fighters that have been tested out of competition have failed the drug test.
Yeah.
So it's a huge fucking problem.
It's probably going to go higher too. I'm sure.
Yeah, I think. Well, you need to go either one way or the other. You need to go out and fucking test everyone all the time, or test no one.
Right.
And I hear like you look at I want to ask you this too. What was your reaction when you first heard Anderson Silva tested positive for steroids.
Not surprised.
Okay.
Because I feel like, dude, the guy almost lost his leg. I mean, it's amazing he came back so quick. I mean, that's a huge injury. And for him, the same thing I thought when GSP came back. And I mean, I know he never tested positive. I'm just saying it's unusual for someone to be able to recover from those kind of gruesome injuries like that in so fast. I think it's, you can't do it at 40 years old. Come on, dude. Then what? I was talking to the guys at the gym about this on Wednesday. I'm like, okay, I know I'm not a professional athlete. But comparing myself to the rest of the people out in the world that I see on a daily basis, I eat healthier. I exercise almost every day. I sleep well. I don't, I do drink beer or whatever. I don't partake in like crazy behavior or whatever. But when I go out and travel show, I'm fucking sore for 2-3 days. When I do jujitsu, my body hurts for like a week after that. So I would say that I'm probably normal compared to how the fuck does Anderson Silva come back from his leg falling off in 1 year to being like a super athlete again? Right. I know that they're special, but come on, they're still human beings. So there has to be some enhancement going on.
Well, it goes to the point, too, that at least 85% of all these fighters are on something. Yes. At least.
Yes.
And the problem is the more we test, the more you're going to find out fucking everybody's on something. And it's just a problem from that standpoint. Because, okay, now you're going to go down this path of testing everyone. What happens when you don't have any fucking fighters left because everybody's tested positive for something?
Same reason why the NBA doesn't test for weed, because they'd all be fucked.
Right.
So maybe they shouldn't do it. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know. How do you feel differently now versus 6 months ago?
I'm proud of Anderson, Ingo.
Yeah?
I'm proud. You know why? I'd be more proud if he said I fucking did it and I've been doing it the whole time, but he can't say that.
No, of course not.
He can't say that.
He's blaming it on that wacky doctor.
That's what I said. He's going to blame some fucking... Well, Bigfoot came out and said, it's the same fucking doctor. He fucking dosed him. And this and that. And it's interesting to see the reaction from everyone, because the fans are pretty much like, he broke his leg, he needed to do something. I get it. Legacy not tainted. Fighters are shocked. Disapprove.
Yep.
Oh my God, I can't believe he did it. He was the poster boy for like clean, like him and GSP, the clean fighters.
Yep.
And then you have the journalists who are like, oh my God, Anderson Silva, he's fucking, he tested positive, what's gonna happen? Like, are you guys living under a fucking rock?
Does that make Fader the greatest of all time now?
He was on the juice too. Everyone is.
Okay.
Fucking everybody is. It's bullshit. And I hear all these guys, because I'm under the impression that we just stop drug testing. We go back to the Pride days.
Let them do whatever?
Yes, because except for the only stipulation I have is you should do a blood test for impairment. I can understand that aspect of you're either drunk, high, or coked up. Like that advantage or disadvantage,
I don't being drunk in a fight.
I don't want you to have, because then there's a chance that you could get hurt because something is affecting your abilities.
Right.
I know performance-enhancing drugs, they say, oh, my God, what if these guys are on it? This is the journalist talk. If they're on it and then someone gets killed, it'll ruin the sport. Motherfucker, what was Pride? What was Pride?
Yeah.
Everyone was juiced to the fucking tits. They had soccer kicks. They had stomps. Nobody died. And it was the glory days. Let's go back. Come on.
Days of MMA.
I want to bring it back.
You were saying Sean McCorkle. I feel like I derailed your...
sorry. Yeah, he was on Twitter saying fucking everybody's doing shit, and I was doing stuff and this and that. Like they all
Is he out of the
are.
UFC now?
Yeah,
okay.
way out.
Okay, so he can say whatever he wants.
Yeah, at this point. He's like Jose Canseco at this point.
Nice. Okay.
He ain't ratting people out, but he's just giving it to you straight and telling you what kind of stacks to take and this and that.
It's a tough one, dude. And, I feel like part of the reason why GSP may have retired, I know he said it's because everyone's cheating, but I feel like maybe he thought that he needs to cheat more now in order to be where he's at. And if he was to go any further, he would probably get busted.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy is such a perfectionist, OCD kind of person. I think he couldn't live with himself if he ever had his legacy tainted. Even though he, in his own mind, maybe that's his dark place, Matt.
What's that? Having his buddy inject him?
Maybe that's what he's talking about. Maybe that's what he's talking about. His dark place is all the things that he knows about himself that he can't share with anyone because we as the general public don't understand the pressures these guys are
Asterisk
under.
him. Asterisk.
It's an interesting thing. It's easy for us to sit on the couch and go, that guy's a fucking cheater, fuck him. Well, you don't have like hundreds or millions of people trying to like live their lives through your glories and feeling that pressure of like having to be the best and, you know, just not letting people down, letting your coaches down, letting your family down, letting your friends down, you know, letting the fans down, and having to continue to like live up to that standard. I think people break, just like politicians become corrupted. I think sports is the same way. At some point, everyone turns to the dark side, unfortunately.
Right.
I think there's there's no way around it.
If you want to be competitive,
you got to.
Right. Because otherwise, I mean, you're asking a guy in a fucking main event fight to fight 5-minute rounds, 5-minute rounds.
It's crazy.
It's 25 minutes. Good luck. If you 1 minute of a fight, I'm out.
Yes.
I'm out. 1 minute is a long time.
I wonder if there's a way to simulate that. I think like if you could somehow simulate a 5-minute MMA fight without actually having to fight like in a cardio sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's got to be some exercises you can try to do for 5 minutes and then take a minute break and do it 4 more times. I would love to see someone try that just to see, you know, like for me, like burpees, I hate doing those, but those are pretty intense. But if you think like doing something crazy.
Jumping jacks. Do 3 minutes of jumping jacks and see how you feel.
Then jump rope.
Even in shape, that's...
Then go hit a bag.
Ah, fuck.
Then pick up a sandbag and throw that around. Dude, it's crazy. I don't know. For me, I feel bad for Anderson. I feel bad for Nick Diaz. I'm kind of like, it's weird because I used to hate Anderson so much, and now it's like I feel bad for the guy. You know, I don't think he fights again ever. I think he's done.
Yeah, well, at this point, so first-time offender, he's gonna get 9 months suspension. I don't know what they're gonna take. 30%.
Is there
yeah,
like
it's
a clear
like 9
rule?
months.
Okay.
Well, within the Nevada State Athletic Commission, it's just whatever they feel like pulling out of their ass that day. But typically 9 months. Typically 9 months.
Okay.
But if you're gonna sit there, and I think they're more lenient if you admit that you did something versus denying.
Sure.
And he seems to be going down the denial path. So.
Yeah, and we still haven't seen the other test results yet. I think the pre-fight test hasn't come back yet. So we'll have to see what his levels and things are at that point. I asked Craig Perlman about his numbers because they posted that stuff and on his Facebook page, and he replied to me and said it's interesting that his numbers are what they are. Looking at them from the perspective of like an endocrinologist, it looks like they're the numbers of someone who is basically weaning off of steroid use. That's kind of what. You know, the way the levels came back and the way and everything. It basically looks like he probably wasn't taking steroids at that time, but he had just finished a cycle recently.
Well, I think that's what a majority of these guys have been doing and have been fine because you know the date you're getting tested. So it's basically, are you stupid? Like that's how the guys were getting caught in the past because they just did their cycles wrong. If you cycle on, you cycle off, come fight time, you're clear. And I think who is it? Victor Conte.
Yeah, how come he hasn't
talked about he talked about all this, I think, when he was on the Rogan podcast about how it's basically just a stupidity test. If you get caught,
IQ test.
You're done.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he hasn't. It's weird he hasn't chimed in on Anderson. It's strange.
I haven't checked his Twitter feed, so I don't know
anything about it. It hasn't been recycled through the news
rounds,
or whatever. So well, I guess time will tell what happens. I mean, what a fight, though. Should we talk about this fight? Or do you have anything else to...
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking back through my notes to make sure we covered everything.
Because, I mean...
for both guys.
For me, I feel like this was the most exciting first round, probably maybe in the history of MMA.
Well, it's like, here we go with the first real super fight, and then you may have effectively retired both of the guys after it.
Yes.
And that's the problem, because now we've had... I was like, fuck, okay, now you got both these guys. They had a fight. I think... the stock of Nick Diaz went up. Anderson may have dropped a little, but hey, we got cool potential matchups. I know Michael Bisping is ready. He wants to fight either of these fuckers. I'm good for it, but...
He said that?
I think he wanted to fight Diaz. He's throwing shots out. I was like,
that would be an interesting one.
It would, but I think Bisping would win because he would just, you see the technique to beat Diaz is just movement and lots of it, and you know Bisping can do that. So let's talk about the fight. So first round of the fight, I thought, this is the fucking most entertaining first round I've ever seen. You got Nick come out, he fucking lays down, he's like posing, gets back up, goes over to the side of the octagon, he's against the cage, he's like, what?
Come on, let's go.
And then goes into the middle of the octagon, he fucking even gives his back, he starts twerking a little bit. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I don't know, but I love it.
It's crazy.
I love what's going on. And then the rest of the fight after the first round turned into pretty much a sparring match.
Yeah. Well, I get his strategy. I think what he was trying to do is get Anderson out of the counterpuncher mentality and piss him off a little bit. To get him to come forward. Because everybody who's ever tried to go after Anderson gets in trouble. So, I mean, you can't let him counterpunch you because that's his game. But I feel like Diaz, he never really quite engaged. Like, he kind of, it was almost like they were at a stalemate. And then you're right. It was like
no one was taking the lead in this dance.
No. They were both kind of just showed up and they were working out, but there wasn't really a will to finish from either side.
And how about, I think Nick Diaz, I want to say he landed the most leg kicks ever on anybody that Anderson Silva has fought. And you can credit that straight to Joe Schilling, who was on the Joe Rogan podcast the other day.
I think he has a fight this weekend.
Yes, he's fighting tonight.
Oh, is it tonight?
Tonight, okay, Glory, check it out.
Yeah.
A lot of good fights.
Yep.
I guess there was some problems because Schilling was in the corner for Nick, and he's doing the striking coaching. So Schilling's yelling out the instructions for Nick, but a majority of the fight, Nick didn't recognize his voice, so he just ignored whatever Schilling was yelling at him.
Oh, really?
Because he's like, oh, after a fight, that was you telling me that? I just thought that was some other fucking guy.
Okay.
Like, no, motherfucker, that was me.
You would think they would have worked this out beforehand.
Yes, yes. But, you know, how many fights has Diaz fought where he had his other boxing coach, who I forget his name at the time, Perez maybe or something, but... You know, you get so used to just listening. So he's listening for Gilbert, listening for probably his brother, listening for his boxing coach. And I don't know if Caesar is typically there, but
no, I don't think so.
You're probably only keying in on certain guys.
Yeah.
And that may have hurt him.
I did not know that. Okay, that makes sense then. Because I felt like the fight started so crazy, and then it just kind of slowed down and lull. It just kind of hit a lull. But man, I watched this again on the internets, and because it was just so fun. I can't say Diaz has won a single round in that fight. I'm sorry. I don't know.
I swear he won at least 4. You should. I was so biased watching that fight. Well, goddamn, that's another round for Diaz in my book. Everyone's like, you're fucking drunk.
Crazy.
What are you talking about?
No. Anderson pretty much handled that fight. And it was strange. It was strange to watch. It was, you know, Diaz had the right approach, I thought. Anderson, you know, watching it back again, I definitely see a slowness in Anderson. And
you see a humanness, right?
Yes. It's not like before where he was so lightning fast and just made everybody look stupid. I mean, he went in there with a guy who was clowning around and couldn't really do anything about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even like he had Diaz in a lot of trouble ever or anything. It was just, it's tough to watch. So I don't know. I mean, but it was entertaining.
Yeah,
it
was fun.
It was one of the greatest first rounds that I've ever seen. I mean, just we need more of that. I mean, that makes it fun. I think you're in a main event fight on a pay-per-view and you're fucking doing stupid shit like that.
But that's the thing. He out-clowned Anderson Silva.
Yes,
Who does that? Like, are you Batman? Who lays down?
It's crazy.
And Big John McCarthy almost fucked it up because he was almost looked like he wanted to take a point away from Nick. I'm like, this guy is fucking Michelangelo right now. Don't be fucking with his artwork and his masterpiece.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
I gotta. I should have go back and watch again what Joe. I don't know if they showed Joe Schilling in the corner. Maybe when it gets on Fight Pass. I want to see what his reactions are to this first round because
he said they all just lost their shit. They were laughing so hard.
They thought it was funny.
I can't fucking believe he's doing this. I cannot fucking believe he's doing this.
Maybe he'd be going crazy. Like, what are you doing?
No,
this is not what we trained.
They are all
Stop
dying.
Yeah.
And that's something else we should talk about too, because when you look at how the coaches coach between rounds, I always feel like Diaz's coaches fuck him so hard because they always like. I think
doing great.
Melendez is the worst at this. Great fighter, terrible corner guy.
Yeah.
Tells him he's winning the fight. You're
yeah.
winning. You're totally winning. You got 2 rounds in or something like that. You have to be honest with your fighter.
Or they're just biased.
Yeah. Well, like me. I was watching. I can't lie. He's totally winning this fight. I know it. That's like having Rampage in your corner. Like, kick his fucking ass.
Hit him in the face.
You can do it. Well, fuck. Tell me what I'm doing right and wrong. Not give it to me straight.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't even know where to go from there, man.
What's next for each guy? A long vacation.
Yeah. So if Anderson's going to be out 9 months,
it might be good for him if he actually decides to. I don't think he should take. Dude, he's not getting the belt back. So what he needs to do is take super fights. I could see him fighting GSP. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Bisping. You know, something where the stakes are high, but the
fighters are higher.
Good one. Yeah, but the belt isn't on the line because I don't think he's not making.
He's not belt material.
Dude, Weidman is gonna if Weidman still has the belt, the third fight isn't gonna go any different.
Oh, and this should be a no contest, by the way. This will be a no contest
for sure.
2 wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah, because I was wondering like how's that gonna work? So they both failed. Did they forfeit all their money or just part of their money?
I think each of them will get fined 30%, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Which will go right to the Nevada State
That's a lot of
Athletic
money.
Commission. Cha-ching! Because that was what Anderson made $800,000 and Nick made $500,000.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get 30% of 1.3 million. So that's like a lot of money.
400 grand maybe, something like that.
They're just like,
450.
cha-ching! More out of competition drug testing for us.
Yeah.
And we'll not mark the expedite box and get it back 17 days after we're supposed to get it or something. Of course.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the bigger thing. Like, what's the point of this athletic commission? Like, I thought Nevada State Athletic Commission was supposed to be the pinnacle of athletic commissions.
They are.
But they seem to be taking it up the ass at every step.
They want to make money, man. This shit never happened when Keith Kaiser was in charge.
Exactly. Bring back Keith.
Kaiser.
He was the best.
Keith is probably like going, ha ha.
He's like, I got out just in time. Out of competition testing? Go away, please.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So, fuck. I don't know, man. I want more super fights. And then you talk about GSP, like having a super fight. He says he's not coming back. And they offered him a fight. The UFC did. Yep. And he said, nope, I'm not coming back.
Nine. Yeah, did you see the that Hitler thing that's always going around?
No, thanks to Dan one for this.
It's the best, yeah.
I
just love it. But it's out of competition. That thing is like forever gonna be.
That's my favorite. It doesn't matter what it is. That scene is just epic, and if you have the right.
That's a good movie
subtitles.
too. That's a real great.
Which
movie.
one was that?
Forgot the name of it, but it's yeah.
Okay.
It's a good movie.
Cool.
Old school one. Shall we get into Ask the Nuts?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, Ask the Nuts.
He's asking questions this week. I feel fucking
weird.
weird.
You feel naked? All right, Dylan Ruark says, does the failed test take away the great achievements Anderson Silva has done over his career?
Never. Wasn't him. He didn't do it. Rogue doctor.
Yes.
Everyone's doing
I'd say he
drugs.
never tested positive before. You can't do anything about what happened in the past.
Lance Armstrong.
That's right.
Does that make it? I don't know.
Caleb Medeiros. Yeah. Now that Anderson has been caught, do you think it's, he says, as of right now, and because we don't know what will happen with the follow-up testing, do you think it's the only time he's used, and do you think it had anything to do with his leg being broken?
I think, well, it's like I've always said, all these guys are doing stuff, and the more you test, the more you're going to wish you never tested in the first place. They're all doing it.
Yeah.
Or I won't say all, but a majority.
It's like the UFC opened Pandora's box, and now they wish they could close it.
Well, that's why the UFC said themselves that they're not going to do any more of this out of competition testing, and like how they did that Kung Lee debacle.
Yeah.
In where he tested for HGH. I'm sure he was on something, but stop testing.
Yeah.
It's only going to cost you more money and lose you more fights and fighters for an extended period of time. Because here's the other side effect of this that we didn't mention. Wow, talk about how much this hurts the UFC, because now you've just effectively lost two guys where I want to say the pay-per-view buys for this were like 600 to 700,000 were the initial estimates. So now you've taken out Anderson Silva and Nick Diaz for anywhere from 9 months in Anderson's case to 2 years in Nick's case.
Yep.
So 2 other stars gone. What the fuck are they going to do?
I don't know. Weidman's on the shelf, right?
Yep.
For at least 4 or 5 months.
We're talking interim titles, and Vitor only wants to fight like fucking Mark Munoz and I don't know, some other one not worthy of a fucking interim title that should never happen.
Speaking of Vitor, Braden Woods asks, the interim middleweight fight, Machida versus Belfort?
I'm good with the fight, but not for the interim. There should be no interim. Just
a
year.
fight? 1 year? Okay.
And then strip the title.
Weidman keeps his belt?
Interim. Yes.
For a year.
Yes.
Until December.
And then if he can't fight, take it away.
Strip it.
The other fight that I would like to see, Belfort, Mousasi. Mousasi's throwing it out there, but I think Belfort again, no fight. And now you've effectively made UFC 184 unwatchable, in my opinion. Because now
it's headlining by 2 female fighters.
Rousey versus Ngannou, which is a fight I wanted to see. But then you also had Weidman and Belfort were supposed to be the main event. And then you had Jacare versus Romero, which, again, that fight's off. So you've lost 2 of the 3 awesome fights on there. And now it's just like pie. Shit I don't care about. Might as well be 125ers.
Aurelius Goldie Masoy. ISIS versus the Mexican drug cartel. Who you got, Matt?
Nick Diaz.
209?
Outspokes everyone. 209, if you will.
Those ISIS guys are some crazy motherfuckers.
It's all fabricated. This all this terror.
We need a common enemy, people. Send people to war.
Let's just attack poverty.
Well, Obama was he had some quote I read this morning about him saying like comparing ISIS to like the Crusaders or something, saying like back in the day like there's people were like crusading for God and all that stuff and killing people in the name of Jesus.
It's all bullshit. When's the last time we got attacked? And even when we get attacked, I'm just not buying it.
Thank you, baby Jesus.
Thank you, baby Jesus, with your 10-pound baby Jesus head.
Yes. All right. Rodrigo Machado.
Yes.
Does Nick Diaz have the worst corner ever?
Yes. I can't lie.
And
it's like Rampage in the corner.
Is he a little bitch about complaining about losing?
Oh, I don't know about that. He's no BJ Penn. I think BJ Penn's the best at that.
Do you think this makes a case for BJ Penn being the greatest of all time?
He's on the sauce.
No way. Did you see his Twitter post? He goes, he put on maybe it's not even him, but he's like,
it's not.
He's like multi-divisional champion, fueled strictly on hot dogs and beer. I love it. And then a picture of him all pudgy.
Yeah. I think when you look at guys, like he's probably the guy that's the cleanest in the sport. Yeah. Like out of all the fighters, there's no question marks.
Yeah.
I'd say that would be my bet for clean guy.
One guy who's never taken.
Yep.
Even when he was training with the Marinoviches, when he looked like like the best he's ever looked.
Just raped Diego Sanchez.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was cut for that fight, big time.
Yes. So. And then threw a head kick and vagina his eyeball.
That was gross. Yeah.
Diego Sanchez just posted a gross picture of his
I didn't want to bring it up.
shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm not going to post it.
It's disgusting.
No.
Last question comes to you from Justin, Doctor at Bound Carter. So, Prime Anderson and Vitor on the juice versus Godzilla and Matt on the TRT Jesus load. Who takes it? And can Ingo read the Ask the Nuts questions just for sake of anarchy?
We did this once, and it's very uncomfortable.
It's all good.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
You don't like to be the center of attention?
I don't like it. But it's okay.
You're doing a great job. Keep going.
So I'll tell you. So who is it? It's Vitor and Anderson, juice to the teddies.
Yeah. Where's Godzilla?
Godzilla and me.
You on TRT Jesus load.
Great. That was like the first month of me on the TRT. So Godzilla's going to sit this one out for a little bit. Okay. And Matt's going to go in there and take a savage beating. But the TRT is going to allow him to not get knocked out for a while.
He'll rise from the ashes?
So he could take a more savage beating. And then let them just tag team me. Not in the porno style, but in the wrestling style, where one guy taps in and one other guy goes out.
Okay.
And then Godzilla will avenge my loss and go.
Come in and curb stomp everybody?
Yes, soccer kick.
Okay.
And then he's going to stick his Godzilla cock right in their roided up asses.
Yikes.
And they'll probably like it because that's typically when you're taking the shots, you're gonna put them in your ass, if not your thigh.
Nice.
Oh, did you see Anderson Silva's? I don't know if he's his strength and conditioning coach. All those pics surfacing around the internets. He's 57 years old, yoked.
No, I did not see this. Nope.
Hopefully, I post the pic now.
No, I didn't see that.
Yes. And they said, I think 3 of the, I haven't confirmed this one, so this is total rumor. 3 of the Black House fighters in 2014 all have failed for the same steroids. I don't know if that's neither here nor there, but the
saying, or whatever it's called.
Yeah. And I think those were like bunk steroids, like out of stuff you should be taking. That's not what you should be taking.
Right.
So, weird state of events. What's going to happen in the rest of fucking 2015, man?
The year just started. Who knows? Brock Lesnar is coming back.
Well, that's the thing. We've had 3 of 4 main event fighters fucking fail drug tests lately. Brock Lesnar's going to come back.
Ronda Rousey's going to test positive.
Oh, shit. Out of competition.
Yeah.
What if she... Well, that's what I've always said. I said, just wait. One of these fucking super guys is going to test, and then all hell is going to break loose. Because now you know everyone's on it. When everyone's on it, no one's on it.
That's right.
Or something like that. That syndrome from The Incredibles. Something like that.
Syndrome.
When everyone's super,
is he the Gumby guy?
No one's super.
Chris Rock or whatever? Is that syndrome?
No, he's the guy that had all the powers. Frozone was Samuel Jackson.
That's it.
Should just change it. That looks like John Jones, and then he could be Blowzone. Just blows his own coke right up his nose. Better get out.
Okay.
Tap out.
That is
that's
for this week's edition of MMA Nuts. My name's Ingo Weigel.
Meg Griffith.
Till next time.
Thanks for playing.